So for seekers, you want things that are good for movement. So like some other people have mentioned already, sitting on balls when you do school, a trampoline. I remember a couple years ago we were learning addition facts and we would do them on the trampoline. Like as he would jump, I would give him an addition fact and he would answer me with his next jump. We use a lot of Play-Doh and fidgets. Our rule is he's right-handed, so he can have a fidget in his left hand if it's under the table, because especially with boys, using their hands keeps their brain active. Like a boy, the male brain tends to, if you think of a computer, how it goes to sleep after a while if you're not using it, the male brain tends to go to sleep faster than the female brain. So a fidget keeps his brain activated so he can focus on what he's doing. You can do a crash pad, which is basically like a pillow, a big pillow, so they run and jump into it. You can put a big rubber band or exercise tubing on the bottom of a chair so kids can kick their legs back on the chair. A T-stool is basically a 2x4 that you cut here and here, and it makes their knees have to be at a 90-degree angle. You can find measurements online for free, but it basically, they have to use their core to stay sitting. And so again, muscle movement keeps our brain on. Scented pencils, a wiggle seat is like a half inflated, bumpy seat that they can kind of scooch around on. Finger traps, brushes, like brushing their skin, and sour candies. So as long as you have good boundaries with them, like I said.
Yes. Yeah.
And for avoiders, you want to think of things that will give gentle, consistent input. So not things they're going to play with, but things that can kind of surround them during school, like doing school in a beanbag chair, using a blanket, or having music in the background, weighted blankets. And weighted blankets and compression clothes can go for seekers too, but more commonly for avoiders because it gives them that input. And if you don't want to buy expensive compression clothes, a tool of the trade is you can go and get like a rash guard for swimming. That's a couple sizes too small. And that works as a really nice compression vest for your kids.
Oh.
Yeah, life hack.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because those are expensive. I've looked at those.
Right? Yes. It's ridiculous sometimes.
All right. Those are some great things. And then you also talk about the homeschool room setup and how it should be different. Now, you may have to explain if you have one of each, or how do we make it work?
Well, actually, we do kind of have one of each. So we actually have both of our kids facing a corner, like they're in the corner of the room. So on one side, he doesn't have a lot of visual stimuli or background noise. He's facing the wall. We try, and we're failing right now because he loves to collect like trash, but you theoretically have no extra materials in your work area. Flexible seating means have options, have a chair, have a ball, have a T-stool, let them move around, clear their work area. And one of my favorite things to do is have a lamp on their desk. And then turn off all the other lights, because focus lighting will help them to pay attention to what you're actually doing at the moment. I do that a lot in my speech therapy. I'll turn a lamp on just the activity we're doing. And for avoiders, you want to be quiet. So a lot of avoiders will benefit from headphones or even just noise canceling headphones.
Right.
Cool, calm colors, dim, broad lighting. Or I have several friends who have covered their lamps with like colored plastic or colored saran wrap to kind of dull it down a little bit, especially like light blue or aqua, things like that. And make sure it's a good temperature. Sensory avoiders won't usually work well if it's too hot or too cold.
Oh, okay. Good things. We have a question from Leslie. She asked, where may I buy a weighted blanket? Do you have any good resources for that? Or maybe some of our
there are lots of places you can buy them from. Again, it's one of those items that is so expensive for no good reason, just because they've cornered the market on special needs. But places like Southpaw There was a place in Indiana that's run by homeschool moms called Capabilities, like CAPE abilities. They make weighted blankets that are really nice because they don't have the ball filling. It's actual like metal discs. So that's really nice. But if you Google it, you can actually make your own. Just pay attention because there's a very specific weight based on the weight of your child. So I believe it's like 10% plus or minus 1 pound. So you don't just want to buy a random weighted blanket. You have to check and make sure. Because again, it's one of those things, if it's too heavy, your sensory voider could freak. If it's too light, it's going to do nothing for your sensory seeker.
That's a really good point. And I know, when you buy like through a manufacturer, do they ask you those questions, or do they just and they do? Okay.
They should. If you look, sometimes it's in like the FAQ section.
Okay.
It's not always going to be obvious. You can also do things like filling stuffed animals with rice as a lap, as like a heavy lap toy. Things like that work well too. So you don't have to necessarily spend all the money on blankets. It can get expensive.
We bought those, up north, when we lived up north, they sell those heated bags that you put in the microwave that you can heat up, and then they have rice or beans or something inside of them. And my kids always loved those. You just throw them in the microwave for a minute, and then they have the warmth of it, but also I think the weight. I didn't realize, while they were asking for them, that probably contributed a lot to their sensory issue, needs in the process.
Since I'm in Indiana, we have a lot of them that are made with corn. So that's an easy thing to do if you're in the Midwest, is get one filled with corn.
Right. Oh, you can find them at every craft sale that's going on at every place there. Yeah.
Play sand. There are lots of ways to do it on your own. But yes, if you search for weighted blankets, you can buy them online from special needs places.